Alright, so welcome back to part 2 of what's in the box for Venus Next. Alright, so let's continue on. Now I've separated the rest of the cards into 6 separate piles. And so this is the first of 6 separate piles. This pile is of cards that will actually do something with the Venus scale, increasing it, but don't have any of the tags on them of any kind. So let's go over them. First we have Water to Venus. For 9 credits, it will raise the Venus 1 step. That's pretty cool. Pretty cheap, and it increases the Venus scale 1 step. That's pretty cool. Then this one is Spin-Inducing Asteroid. For 16 credits, you can raise the Venus 2 steps. However, Venus must be 10% or lower in order to play this card. So that's interesting. So you better make sure that the Venus scale isn't too high, otherwise you won't be able to play this card. So that's how that works. Rotator Impacts. Well, this one is very unique. First of all, the maximum that has to be 14% or less. So the Venus scale has to be 14% or less in order to play this card, unless you have some sort of special card that says otherwise, like that particular corporation called Morningstar Incorporated, for instance. Now, as an action, you can spend 6 credits to add 1 asteroid resource to this card, and titanium may be used instead. Or, you can spend a resource from this card to increase Venus 1 step. So, asteroid resource is the only card that I know of that has the asteroid resource on it, so that's pretty unique, and once you get an asteroid resource on it, then next time you play this in the next generation, probably, unless you have that particular corporation called Viron, for instance, you could then spend that 1 asteroid resource to increase Venus 1 step. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome. I like that one a lot. And it's pretty cheap, too. Then we have Comet for Venus. This one costs 11 credits to spend, and you'll get to raise Venus 1 step, and then you'll remove up to 4 mega credits from a player with a Venus tag in play. So if your opponents do not have a Venus tag in play yet, obviously it's going to remove up to 4 of your mega credits instead, because it says just from a player with a Venus tag on it. So that could include you as well if you're the only one that has a Venus tag in play. But that's still pretty cool. You get to raise it 1 step, and you also get to attack somebody, assuming they have a Venus tag in play. So that's pretty cool. And that's it for that stack of cards, which isn't really that much, really. Let's move on, then. Okay. So this is a stack of cards that work with floaters and also work with the Venus scale as well. So let's go over them. So this is Jetstream Micro Scrapers. As an action, you can spend 1 titanium to add 2 floaters to this card. Or you can remove 2 floaters here to raise the Venus 1 step. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Hydrogen to Venus. For 11 money, you can add 1 floater to the Venus card. You'll also get to raise the Venus 1 step, and you get to add 1 floater to a Venus card for each Jovian tag you have. So if you don't have any Jovian tags, you're only going to get to raise Venus 1 step, and you won't be able to do anything with floaters. So you better make sure you have at least 1 Jovian tag in play before you play this, so that way you can add floaters to a Venus card you have. So that's pretty cool, though, for sure. And obviously you wouldn't be able to put floaters on this card because this doesn't have the Venus tag on it either, just so you know. But that's cool. Then we have Forced Precipitation. This is an action. Spend 2 mega credits to add a floater to this card. Or spend 2 floaters here to increase Venus 1 step. And it's only 8 money, so that's not too expensive. Then we have Extractor Balloons. Well, it costs 21 money, and you'll get to add 3 floaters to this card when you play it for the first time. And then as an action, you can add 1 floater to this card or remove 2 floaters here to raise Venus 1 step. So that's pretty interesting. Then we have Air Scraping Expedition. For 13 money, you get to raise Venus 1 step and then add 3 floaters to any Venus card. And you'll see that a lot. A lot of the animals, microbes, and floaters will say to any Venus card. So that is really cool. Any Venus card. So you better make sure you're playing with a lot of Venus cards, because this will be helpful, especially if you have a lot of Venus cards to choose from. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Atmoscoop. Some of these are harder to pronounce than others. Atmoscoop. Anyways, so this one requires that you have 3 science tags in play, and it's 22 money, 22 credits, and then you have a choice. You can either raise the temperature 2 steps, or you can raise Venus 2 steps. And then you add 2 floaters to any card. So that's pretty cool. To any card. Awesome. And that's it for that pile there. Let's continue on. Let's see here. Which one's smaller? How about this one? Okay, so this pile is cards that work with floaters. Just floaters, though. I mean, they work with other things, but they focus on floaters. First, we have Stratospheric Birds. That's pretty cool picture there. For 12 money, you can for 12 money, and you also have to have the Venus scale at least 12% to play this, too, obviously, and have 12 credits. And that you also spend 1 floater from any card. So you'll lose a floater for playing this card, which is kind of interesting, because usually when playing an animal, they would remove a plant that you had in order to play it. This one is going to remove a floater, though, instead of a plant to play it. So that's pretty cool. And you can remove any floater you want from any card you have. So that's also kind of nice. But that's still kind of interesting. And then as an action, you can add 1 animal to this card. And this is worth a victory point for every animal on this card at the end of the game. So that's really cool. All right. Here's some more. Stratopolis. Okay, well, it costs 22, and it also requires 2 science tags in order to play. Increase your mega credit production 2 steps. Place a city tile on the reserved area, and this is worth 1 victory point per 3 floaters on this card. So, you get to increase your mega credit production 2 steps. You also get to place a city tile on the reserved area, which is on this board here. Stratopolis is right there on the board. So you get to place a city tile there. And then as an action during the game, you can add 2 floaters to any Venus cards. So you could add it to this card, you could add 2 floaters to this card, you could add 2 floaters to another card, as long as it was a Venus card. So that's pretty cool. Then we have Local Shading, pretty cheap for just 4 credits. As an action, you can add 1 floater to this card, or you can spend 1 floater here to raise your mega credit production 1 step. So that is pretty easy to understand for sure. Alright, then we have Floating Habs, or HABS, I'm not sure. It requires 2 science tags in order to play, and this is worth 1 victory point for every 2 floaters on this card. And as an action, you can spend 2 mega credits to add 1 floater to any card. So that's pretty cool, pretty easy, pretty cheap. Now, this is definitely one of my favorites thus far. It's called Dirigibles, I believe. Anyways, for 11 money, as an action, you can add 1 floater to any card. Any card. So it can be this one or it can be another one. Most likely, I would choose this one, though, because of the effect. When playing a Venus tag, floaters here may be used as payment and are worth 3 mega credits each. So that's really cool. So if you had floaters on this card, and later down the line you wanted to play a floater card, you could use the floaters here as 3 mega credits. They would equal 3 mega credits, which is awesome to pay for most of the card, if not all. So that is really cool. It's definitely one of my favorites, for sure. All right. We still have 2 more in this pile, so let's finish this. All right, so then we have Deuterium Export. This one is 11 money to play, 11 credits. And as an action, you can add 1 floater to this card or spend 1 floater here to increase your energy production 1 step. So that's pretty easy to understand as well. All right, cool. Moving on. Last one for this video. For 11 money, and this one is called Aerial Mappers. So for 11 credits to play it, as an action, you can add 1 floater to any card or spend 1 floater here to draw a card. So that's pretty cool. It's going to give you an extra victory point at the end of the game. This is a nice way to get cards for just by simply spending a floater on the card. That's pretty cool. I like that one too. And that's it for this video. We still have 3 big piles of cards to go through. And then I still have some cards that work with Venus Next that came with the Colonies expansion of Terraforming Mars. See you guys again soon in the next video.